Welcome back, guys. I wanted to make this video to share my experience of selling with PSA on eBay through their eBay site. And hopefully this will give you a bit of an insight as to whether it works for you or not. As for a bit of context, PSA started this a number of months ago, and what you can do, if you grade a submission through them, you can send it to the vault, and from there they store it and list it for you on eBay. So as you can see here, they do a 7-day listing, which is an auction, starts at 99p. It used to do, I believe now they've upped it so that you can set your own new minimum. They do all the listings, they take all the photos, and they ship it for you, and then they pay you for it through Stripe. So as it says here, then PSA will create and host a listing on its eBay storefront for you. They will cover the cost of shipping as well. Payments deposited straight into your bank account. But again, like I say, as it says here, they pay you through Stripe. So you have to have a Stripe account to get paid. So they pay it into your Stripe. Stripe take a small fee and then they pay you into your bank account then. So you do have to account for all those extra little fees that come from the payment processor essentially. And as it states here, you can only do this if you're in the US, Canada, Japan or the UK. They don't do it to other countries. So that may be a limiting factor whether this actually works for you. If you're outside of those 4 countries straight away, this is not an option for you, is it? And it does actually look like you can do buy it now options as well. I didn't use that for my ones that I sold, but we'll come on to that in a minute. And also, just to mention the fees as well, here is the fee structure. So anything under $100, they charge 16% of the final value, or a minimum of $5. This was a problem for me that I'll come into shortly. Anything above that, the fees decrease. Obviously, for most people, fees on eBay are around 13% anyway. So if you don't want the hassle of listing the cars, taking the photos, doing all that, paying for the shipping, it's potentially worth it, especially when you start getting down to the 14, 13, 10% fees for the higher end cards. But a lot of these cards, well, actually all of the ones that I sold as a little experiment were under $100. So as for the cards that I sold on eBay, there was a number of them. Essentially these cards I had duplicates of, or they didn't get the grade that I wanted, so I just thought I'd try and sell them through PSA and see how it went. So as you can see here, there's quite a breadth of cards. We've got Japanese, we've got English, we've got medium, sort of like $70, $60. We've got lower end that's 20 and under. So there's a right plethora of cards to get a good idea of what the fees are like and whether it's worth it. So you don't want to sell anything that's really low end that you don't think is going to get much money for it. Look at this Metagross. PSA 9 sold for $10.50. I got charged a $5 fee, taking home $5.50. I got absolutely ruined on that. That's like what? Just over a third of the grading price, let alone the card price. Down bad on some of these. Same with the Garchomp PSA 9. $8.50 received from that. $9.50 from the Jirachi Holo, $7.50 from the Zapdos, and $5 from the Rhyperior, $4.50 from the Charizard, albeit that was a PSA 7. Anything low end, do not sell through this because the fees will destroy you. I didn't think some of these cards were going to sell that low, but yeah, clearly I was wrong there. So the fees only start changing when you get above about $35. As you can see, this Pikachu and this Blastoise both sold for $31, only $5 worth of fees. But then if we take a look at, is there something that sold for $40? $42 for the Vaporeon, $6.72 fees. That's where that 16% starts kicking in because it's over the $5. So it's either a minimum of $5 or 16% value with the card sale. So having a look at a couple of the more medium range cards then, so stuff like the 2 evolutions, the Umbreon and Glaceon, that sold for exactly the same price, nearly $9 in fees, and the Magcargo PSA 10, $11 in fees. So it does get up there a bit, but again, if you want to save yourself the hassle, if it's selling for $70 anyway and you're paying 13% eBay fees, it's pretty much the same price when you account for postage. So if you don't want the hassle, you can just get rid of it. Another one here, the Japanese promo Advent of Arceus, $72, charging $11.52. Again, very comparable to what you'd pay for eBay with regards to being able to pay the fees 13%. Plus, at that price, you probably need some sort of insured postage, so you're probably looking at a couple of dollars anyway. And then with regards to payment, how long it actually took me to get paid, from the point of them selling on PSA and PSA getting paid, because you don't get paid until PSA are paid on eBay obviously, was generally a couple of days. Then for Stripe, for the money to arrive into the Stripe account was again probably another day or two, and then it immediately goes into your bank account from that. So probably overall I'd account for 4 or 5 days to be able to do it from the point of sale to the point of the money hitting your bank account. Although on occasions buyers did delay payments, and so that did delay me getting the money in my bank account. So I can only comment on the low and medium end cards, But I would say do not sell your low-end cards through PSA. The fees will destroy you. Your mediums, if you don't want the hassle, absolutely do it. And your high-end, looking at these fees, you might as well, because you're not going to get 7, 9, 10% fees on eBay and still be able to post it as well. It is looking like it's definitely worth it for the high end, but obviously I haven't sold high end cards. If you have sold high end cards, let me know in the comments down below and let me know your opinion on this. And one last thing that has come about, if you're in the UK like me, do not sell through this. Essentially, eBay has no fees at the moment, so sell it through eBay yourself. This doesn't make sense at the moment. When I sold these back in August time, there were still fees. However, at the moment, they've removed all fees in the UK, so it does not make sense to do this. Ship the cards back for you to yourself. Just pay the fee to ship the cards back to yourself for equivalent of something like $1 a card each. Just ship them back to yourself, because it's not worth it otherwise for the fees. You're going to get absolutely destroyed compared to feeless here in the UK. And something I did forget to mention was, obviously in this you don't have to pay the fees for shipping cards back to yourself if you send them to the vault, so you take that into account as well. Take off your eBay fees, take off your shipping fees to ship to the buyer. You're probably quids in, to be honest, if you're in the US paying for this service. Let me know guys what you think about this. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.